Welcome to Charlene's Kitchen. Today we're going to make potato leek soup. I'm going to start out by browning the leeks. I've rinsed them really well. You know, when you buy them, they're filled with a lot of sand. So you want to cut them, slice them up, and put them in a nice strainer and just rinse them really well. And in fact, I put it in my lettuce spinner and I just cut them up. As you can see, I have them in here, and I just put them in my lettuce spinner and really rinse them. When you buy the leeks, cut most of the green part off. You don't really want much of that at all. And when I said I rinsed them, I didn't just rinse them. I actually filled this with water. This is my salad spinner. I filled it with water and just worked them all over the place because it's very sandy. You'll see they look dirty. And so you rinse them really well. After the water is just running clean, okay, then I actually spin them out in the salad spinner. So that's just an idea that you might want to take with you. If you don't want to use the leeks, you can use onion, just an onion. But I thought with the potato soup, it just kind of lends itself. So we're going to try it this way. I don't think I've used leeks much in my life, so I'm experimenting with this myself with you. Then I cut up some potatoes. There's about 8 reds in here, the red potatoes. And I just chopped them up, roughly speaking. I am going to make mine with bacon fat, and we're going to get right into it. So let's just get some of that. Oh, okay, so talking about the bacon, I've already browned my bacon, and so I have about, I'm going to put about, 3 tablespoons into the pot, into my soup pot, and I'm going to get that going, and we're going to saute these leeks, and then we're going to add our potatoes and just build from there. What I wanted to tell you is that if, you know, during Lent, a lot of people don't even want to use the bacon fat. If you feel that you absolutely don't want any meat in there at all, or the fat from it, you might say, then just go with a blend of oil and butter. And you can use a no salt butter. And so that would be the way to go if you feel you don't want any meat in this at all. So, but I am going to use the bacon fat in mine because I just think that that's what makes it so good. But do use just a butter. Now I'm going to throw these leeks in, and there were 3 leeks in this batch that I bought, and we're going to saute those really nicely. And about 8 potatoes. Now I want to get those going. I'm going to salt a little bit of those leeks with some sea salt, and just sprinkle it around, okay? And let's see. So this should be a wonderful soup, and it just makes you feel really good. And potato soup is just one of the best soups that people like, especially, spring is coming, but it's still kind of chilly out there. So we're going to saute that down, and I'm going to add the potatoes to it. Now, I like to brown my potatoes with the leeks, okay? And then I'm slowly going to add my garlic, but not right at this minute because I don't want it to burn. So we're going to get this to saute down a little bit, and then we'll look back in about 15 to 20 minutes. So anyway, we're going to take a look at this. It's softening up. It isn't ready, but I want you to see how that looks. Here's how those leeks are sauteing in that bacon fat and a little sea salt. So far, that's about all I did. I think pretty soon we're going to add a few more of the ingredients. Okay, we're going to add a few more ingredients into this soup. There goes my, there goes Chloe. She must be seeing a cat out there or something. So we'll just work around her. How's that? All right, I'm going to move this in a little bit so you can see. I'm going to add to my leeks and potatoes about a half a teaspoon of garlic pepper. Okay. I'm gonna tell you, maybe a half a teaspoon, but I'm just gonna shake it in there of garlic powder and onion powder. A couple shakes. If you want to measure, do a half a teaspoon, because if you have at least 6 or 8 potatoes, you want at least that. I'm just checking this because I'm gonna have to start adding my. What we're going to do now is we are going to put the garlic in. I have 4 cloves of garlic that I chopped up. So we're going to put that in there. I'm going to lower the temperature here because I don't want that to start burning, and I don't want to add any more of the bacon fat. That's enough, because we're going to be putting the water in here. So here we go. Just, you know, when you saute, things just really get to sparkle. You know, just to, well, how can I put this? If you just throw it into the water, you know, it's not the same thing. It's just not the same. Saute a lot, as much as you can, flavor. That's what you're looking for, right? You're putting all this effort into everything. So there it goes. Well, that's really looking good. So now, all right, we put that in there. The garlic's in there. I'm going to just run this by a little bit yet. Yeah, the pot's getting so pretty. Really pretty. Really pretty. I am going to add, I'll tell you what, I'm going to add a little wine. Now, they don't normally say, but that's what I do. So I'm going to add about, this is a Riesling wine, any kind of white wine that you might have. There you go. About a quarter of a cup. Okay, that's what I want to happen. All right. Let that just burn off a little bit. Let that burn off a little bit. Okay. We're going to start adding our water. I'm going to put about 6 cups of water into this. I'm putting in hot water. Six cups of water. Okay, I'm going to bring that up so it starts to simmer. You'll notice that I don't use a lot of chicken broth. I only use chicken broth to either thin it out if it got too thick, my soup or my gravies, etc. I read on the label, it says don't boil. So why would I put this in here? I'm going to be, it's boiling. You want to bring it to a boil, and you're going to be simmering until those potatoes are real tender. And then, of course, we're going to blend them out and mash them out all up. I'm going to add now to that water about 4 bay leaves. Okay, and we put our seasoning in, and now I'm going to also add my this is a soup base, okay, and we're going to put some of that in rather than adding any more salt. I just bought this, in fact, and we'll see how that tastes. A soup base, any kind of soup base that you like to work with, okay? Now, I'm going to add a tablespoon of it. And then we'll see how it is. We can always add a little more salt down the road. I might add a dash of lemon. I'm really not too sure yet about that. We'll see how it tastes. We just want to get those potatoes now nicely softened up, and then we'll go from there. There you go. See, it's a little soup base that I used. Usually I use with another one, but I don't have any, and so I tried another type of soup base. It smells wonderful. I don't know if I'm supposed to mention, but it's I got that at Menards. Would you believe? It's that Watkins line. They sell all kinds of seasonings, unbelievable seasonings. Okay, so that's about that, and we're going to cover this up and let that soup simmer down. And while the potatoes are really tender, then we're going to thicken it up. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I chopped up 2 sticks of celery and 2 big fat carrots, okay? And so we're going to put that now into the soup. It's simmering along, and by the time the carrots are done, the potatoes will be done too. And so now we're going to give that a stir. So we're building the flavors. Here we go. This is wonderful. I wanted to show you how beautiful that soup is looking already. Nowhere near done, but look at the way it looks. And that's because of the sauteing and all the wonderful flavors that we continue to add. How could it be bad? We'll be back. Okay, so the soup is, the potatoes are tender, the carrots were tender. I removed the celery and the bay leaves. Remember how many bay leaves you put in so that you remember to pull them out. Now, I took the carrots out and I mashed them. I put them back into the soup. I'm going to add just a little pinch of thyme leaves, just a pinch. Like that, a little pinch of thyme leaves. I'm going to squeeze them here. I'm going to add a little dill. And let's see if I can get into this little bag. I'm almost at the end of it. I don't know, to me potatoes just goes good with dill. I'm going to put at least a half a teaspoon of dill and a pinch of thyme, okay? Now the celery and carrots are done, and I've mashed those up. What I want to do now is I'm going to make a little roux, and we're going to thicken this, so we're going to do it like this. And this goes for any type of gravy or soup that where you want to thicken anything. So this is 3 tablespoons of unsalted butter. I'm going to soften that up, make a little roux. We're going to bring that camera down so you can see what I'm doing. There you go. Once I get that all going, then I wait until the soup cools down, okay, and then I'm going to blend it all. I have a little hand blender, you know, and I'm sure you might have one of these deals here, like that. I'm going to go in there and blend it, but right now I want to finish my seasoning, and I'm also want to taste it to see if it needs any more of that. Oh, my fork went in there. Gee, that's not good. Wait. All right. The butter's melting. I wanted to taste this soup if it needs any more seasoning. Yes, it needs a little something. Okay, so we're going to melt that butter down. Okay. I'm going to add another, if you recall, I put 1 tablespoon of that soup base, chicken soup base. I'm going to put another tablespoon in. Okay. So now I'm going to add the flour to this butter. And this is how you make gravy. And you just stir. In fact, I turned the heat off. I'm just stirring this. Stirring this. We're going to thicken it up a little bit. That looks pretty darn nice. Okay. And the soup is still cooking, but very, very slowly. Still simmering a little bit. Still simmering a little bit. I'm going to add some parsley now. Oh, a good tablespoon. Heaping tablespoon. And I got some fresh parsley because I just thought that it deserved that fresh parsley with those leeks, and oh my gosh, this is all so good. All right, so there's the roux, and I'm going to add to that, I have some half and half here. So let's see, how much do I need of that? I'm not sure. I'm going to put, this is 1/3 of a cup of cream, okay? So I'm going to slowly add and keep it low temperature and just keep mixing so it doesn't curdle. You don't want it to curdle, okay? So that's why women kind of fear making it, but just take your time with it. Oh, light would help. Okay, you see how that blended? It's real nice. Nothing happened. And I'm adding a little more of that half and half. Just keep stirring. Just keep stirring. And then this goes, you see how that's getting there? And the rest of that. And again, we just keep stirring. Nice and easy, nice and easy. Now, I'm going to take a little bit of that soup and I'm going to add it to this very slowly, like so. And I'm going to stir some more. Just stir it up so it gets used, they get used to each other, okay? All right, it's quiet, it's thick. It's thick. We're going to go in there one more time. A little more soup stock. Like so. And then we're going to add it right into the soup. You can see how beautiful that looks. With the butter and the cream. And that's really where I'm at. Looks like mashed potatoes, right? I'm going to start adding this to my soup. And I'm going to stir. The soup is boiling. Well, it's in a good simmer. Not rapidly boiling, but it's in a good, I'm going to add a little more. And then, you know, if this gets too thick, and you're going to be worrying about that, then what you do, I'm going to turn this off. If that soup you think is getting too thick, or gets too thick as you continue, ooh, look what I found. Ha ha ha. A bay leaf. Good thing. I thought I put 4, but that's the 5th one. So remember to count. Even the teacher screwed up. All right, so this is, here it goes. Well, it's looking really good. I'm going to put the rest of that roux in there. And now you learn how to make a nice gravy. That goes for anything. Turkey gravy, chicken gravy, that's how you make your roux. That's how you make your gravy. With the chicken fat, you add the flour right into the chicken fat that's at the bottom of the pan. Like, let's say you reserve 3 or 4 tablespoons of that chicken fat. Add a couple of tablespoons of flour. to it, like 2 or 3. Stir it while it's, melt the butter really good, stir the flour in, and then add, you can add your water. You can do it with cornstarch, is really nice too. But, so this is the flour. You know, I don't even think I'm going to be, I don't know if I'm going to put this through a blender. It's really looking so velvety and beautiful. And don't you sometimes like a little texture? It took very well to this. I'm going to put that camera in here so you can take a look. There's the soup simmering. After we added that roux to our potato soup. I'm going to put a spoon in here so you can. I mean, it's just so pretty. And you saw all this. I mean, it's just layer upon layer upon layer. So I have to wait till this soup cools down. I think I'm just waiting for it to take on to that new ingredient that we put in, right? We've got that nice velvety look to that. I will probably have to now wait until this cools down. And when it cools down, I'm going to blend it a little, get some of those bigger potatoes out, maybe see how it looks, and then we'll plate it up. I tasted the soup again after I added the roux, and it definitely needed more salt. I put another teaspoon of salt in there, and I added a few green onions, and I would say a good tablespoon of green onions and 2 tablespoons of chopped up. I took those bacon bits and I just crunched them really, really well, and I put about 2 tablespoons of bacon bits. So taste it, always taste it, see if it's to your liking. Maybe you don't want any salt, and people are very careful about putting too much salt in. But outside of that, it's ready to go, and I didn't use the blender. I just mashed it with my mashed potato masher, and I like the way it tastes to me. I enjoy the texture. I'm going to plate that up for you now. I plated up that wonderful leek and potato soup, and I sprinkled a little bit of green onion up on the top and a little bit of that bacon also that I crushed really well. And the soup is absolutely divine, really. So I hope that you try to make this, and you will love it. And you'll have a pot of soup, and you might have it for a couple of days. And then maybe not. You never know. Your family might scoop it all up in one night.